Everyone, so after sharing a couple of photos of my hair over on my Instagram, loads of you asked how I achieved this faux blowout effect, so I thought I would create a tutorial on it. So I have washed and blow dried my hair. My hair is naturally wavy at the back but quite straight at the front because of the bleach. So I like to blow dry it downwards so it smooths the cuticle, and that way I don't have to do too much when it comes to actually using hot tools. So you want to make sure you brush out any tangles. My hair's already pretty tangle free because I've just blow dried it with this big brush. This is my Denman brush. It's a Tangle Teaser one. I've showed it many times in many hair tutorials and I'll link it down below. Then I'm going in with the GHD Curly Ever After. This is a heat protectant as well as a setting lotion, so think of it as memory for your hair. It is going to remember the shape that you put into it with your hot tools and it will hold it for longer. Make sure to really separate your hair to get underneath and make sure you definitely coat the ends. I also like to spritz some onto the bristles of my brush and work that around the hairline. That way I don't have to spritz my face with it in the process. And then I use what's left on the bristles to work that through the ponytail. As with most hair tutorials, we want to section our hair from ear to ear and we're going to work with the bottom section first. I tend to do this in 3 easy sections. The tool we're going to be using today is the GHD Rise. This is not a sponsored tutorial. This was gifted to me when it first came out and I've been loving it ever since. So I'm going to work with this front section first, make sure to comb it through, and then we're going to be curling it away from the face. With this, it is a hot brush, so it can tangle your hair if you do not work in clean, well brushed sections. And when they are nice and thin, it's easy enough just to keep working around in a circular motion. And as you can see, the hair will come away from the hot brush and work its way onto the handle. This isn't necessarily how to use it, it's just how I like to use it. I find as it goes onto the handle itself, it's cooling down as it wraps itself in a spiral shape. And as we all know, if you set a curl in that shape while it cools, it will hold the shape for longer. So I find as it cools down around the handle, because that's not hot, for those few seconds it's just helping to set that curl a little bit. If you have poker straight hair naturally, once you take it out of the brush, you could then wrap it and pin curl it until it's completely cooled. What I should mention is that with each section I am curling it in an alternative direction. So the first one is away from the face, the one next to it goes towards the face, and then the one behind it back away from the face. That way it just adds a little bit more body and volume to your hair, and because they are a little bit more corkscrew, it means they won't wrap themselves together and you won't end up looking like the Cowardly Lion. Here's an example of when your hair almost doesn't want to glide through the brush really easily. When that happens, just turn your brush back on itself. It will allow your hair to sort of glide downwards, and then that way you won't tug at your hair because you don't want to snap it or create any split ends by trying to pull it through the brush. Just work with the brush. So if it gets a little tangled, turn it and it will almost stop the hair from tangling. It will allow it to glide back through. Sometimes they glide through perfectly, and then sometimes they take a little bit of a tweak with the handle of the brush. A little tip is definitely to work in thinner sections. The surface of the brush, because you've got the bristles, means that if your hair is too thick, all the strands will not necessarily touch the hot plate, and it means your hair will not curl as much. Also, if it's too thick, it will definitely get tangled. Again, if you have poker straight hair, you could use another setting lotion by L'Oreal called Plee, which is a little bit stronger than, say, Curly Ever After. It's specifically made to mould your hair, again, like a memory lotion, but it's a stronger lotion. So if you have poker straight hair, definitely give that a try. I will link it in the description bar below. I have used it in previous tutorials and it is phenomenal. I've used it for so many years. Once you've finished your first section, you can take down a new section of hair and again repeat the same process. This time at the front I am curling the hair towards the face. This is to create that dimension so that the very front curls don't all wrap together. If your hair is particularly damaged or particularly fine and very susceptible to heat damage, just be sure to add an extra spritz of heat protectant to each layer before you curl. The GHD Rise has an optimum styling temperature of 185 degrees Celsius, which is consistent across the whole barrel. And the barrel size, in case you are wondering, is 32mm, which is the same size as the Babyliss Styler Heat, which I absolutely love, which is my curling wand. So I like this because it gives me the same kind of volume. If you can see, I'm actually using the very tip to hold the bottom half of the barrel, and this is a cool tip so it doesn't get hot so you won't burn your fingers, which means you can hold both ends of the brush safely. I'm now doing the top layer of hair, which is either side of my parting, and if your hair is quite flat or quite fine and you need some root lift, you can apply the brush right to the root to lift it. This isn't something I necessarily need to do, however I will do that on my fringe itself because I like a little bit of lift at the fringe. If you look to where my hair is coming off of the bristles and wrapping around the handle, there's a little stand that sticks out. So this is really nice because when you put the barrel down on a table, it's got a little stand so it doesn't burn anything. I definitely prefer this method than a genuine blowout because I feel like when I have my hair blow dried, it goes quite flat after a day, whereas this lasts until I wash it again. Now we just have the fringe or the bangs to do. Taking the barrel, I'm lifting it underneath at the root just to give a little bit of volume there. As you can see, it gives a little bit of a lift, and then I'm going on top of the fringe to roll it backwards. It will give a bit of a bounce to begin with, but that will soften ever so slightly. And then we're going to repeat this on the opposite side. Just make sure you section out the actual areas of your fringe or your bangs. Again, go underneath the front to lift it at the root. You only need to hold it for a few seconds and then go on top of your fringe and roll it backwards to create a nice shape. Now we want to comb it out, so I'm taking this wide tooth comb. As you can see, it's got quite big teeth, and we're going to comb this through the lengths just to break up the curls a little bit. You really don't want to leave it looking too cowardly lion. And then just give it a little shake out with your hands, comb the very ends, and then it's up to you if you want to give it a little spritz of hairspray, but I don't, I just leave it, and then it lasts like this until I wash it. It's really lovely. It's a great way to achieve a faux blowout. So I'm going to link the product in the description bar for you, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye guys.